thank you for being with us. Just away from all of that, but Peter and I just think this is very, very important. The New South Wales government has implemented a crackdown on the illegal use of mobile phones by motorists, and rightly so. New cameras that detect illegal mobile phone use were switched on December 1 last year. Until March 1, the cameras were in warning mode. No more warnings. So if you're caught illegally using your mobile phone while driving, it's a $344 fine, 5 demerit points. People say, is that enough? If it's a double demerit period, we're talking 10 points. In Queensland, if you're caught illegally using a mobile phone behind the wheel, it's a $1,000 fine and 4 demerit points. If you're caught twice in the space of a year, it's double demerits and you could lose your licence. Now, in the wake of all of this, and for the benefit of viewers right across Australia, we thought we'd have a word to Ian Luff, because Ian Luff, since 1983, has been running the Drive to Survive program. He describes it as a holistic approach to improving driver competency. Basically, it means to help us stop killing one another on the roads. On March 23, the very first Towards Zero summit will take place in New South Wales. What's it mean? Well, it's designed to help government decide what new measures are needed to meet the New South Wales government target of no fatalities on the road by 2056. Now, this bloke talks sense. I know him. I've seen him in operation. He makes one simple point: driver education must be on any agenda. Joins us. Good morning. Good evening.
G'day, Alan. G'day, Pat.
How bad is all of this? I mean, just first on the mobile phone thing, are these punishments enough? I mean, should people be allowed to eat an ice cream or eat a pie while they're driving?
Look, we know that driver distraction is probably one of the biggest factors to do with road carnage. And it's so easy with today's modern vehicles, with all the new technology, to become isolated in that little metal box made of plastic and glass. And this is a big factor that we see through our Drive to Survive programs. And as I said, the name says it all. No human being wakes up and says, today is a great day to die. And when you look at road carnage on Australian roads, federal government figures, it's about $30 billion per annum. That's a lot of reasons why we need better driver education, not just going out to pass a very simple test and doing a reverse park.
So when I went to school in the United States, I had to do driver education as part of the curriculum. Everybody did. I mean, they drive younger than we do over there, obviously. Why is it not a formal part of the curriculum? Because even if you don't take the kids necessarily out in the vehicles, all the road rules, understanding the penalties, all of that, why don't we do more of that?
Well, look, it's a very good question, and we've confronted government about this. When you've got bureaucrats running the education system, they probably think that 2-unit maths will save you on the Pacific Highway or Parramatta Road. And as we know, academic subjects are very good, but a lot of those young people, young adults, are overrepresented in road carnage. We know that 95% of road crashes are attributed to human error. So if you want to fix the problem, we've got to have better education. What you alluded to, they've got it right in America, countries like Japan, better education systems, make people aware of what the risks are.
And bring back manual cars. There's no way you could be on a manual car and texting. But this is part of the problem, right? So you see young people and they've got the cruise control on. I used to see it a lot driving from Canberra to Sydney, and they would be texting at sort of 110 kilometres an hour, or you're certainly using their phone. I don't know about texting, but they had their phone up.
Well, you had, I just looked here, a week ago, 2 drivers caught speeding, one at 162 kilometres an hour in an 80-kilometre roadwork zone, a P plate at 160 kilometres. Can you ever get rid of that behaviour?
Look, you're never going to stamp out the lunatic factor. That's some people are just like that. That's what we call bad behaviour. But like I said, no young person wakes up with the intention of being involved in what they call an accident. You might know that we refer to them as crashes, Alan, because out in Sydney where they crash vehicles to rate them from 1-star to 5-star safety, they call it the crash lab. So we've got to call it and have the correct language. Accidents don't happen, they're caused. It's a crash. People crash cars. Cars don't crash people. So educating people about how the technology works. And what you said, Peter, yes, when you're driving a manual car, there was a lot more to do.
You're more engaged with the vehicle.
Totally. Now with the automatic car, people put the thing in D for dream, drive down the road and have what we call
D for dream.
Well, that's highway hypnosis, and most people can honestly say at some point in their driving they've driven from A to B and said, gee whiz, how did I get here? I can't remember. It's that split second of inattention. So much going on in people's lives, relationships, finances, you know, what we've got at the moment, coronavirus. So people who are driving around in their cocoon at a higher risk state. So if we come back and drill it down to the basics, We've got to get governments to embrace driver education in high schools.
Now, hang on. The last sentence is only half true. We've got governments to embrace people like you. Who in government says to you, hey, we better put you into the schools tomorrow?
Well, tragically, it doesn't happen that way. And as you know, Alan, we've met with the Education Minister. And politics is good about the flick pass, almost like rugby union where the ball gets flicked. We've met with the Education Minister in New South Wales. We've been with the Transport Ministers before. They all give you lip service, but when it comes to the point of coming back to saving our most precious resource, young human lives, we've got to change behaviours. And you can't do that just by slapping penalties on people. The mobile phone, as you said before, is the biggest distraction. All young people have got them.
You see them even crossing the road, let alone being in vehicles, right? And
Correct.
9 times out of 10 they've got their pods in their ear, so they're not getting any oral sensories. They're constantly on their phone. Just on the phone though, I don't understand. So if I get a text message in the car, human nature is you want to answer it, right? You want to look at what they say. I put my phone on silent or I put it on the back seat so I'm not tempted. Why doesn't my phone knock itself out in the car?
Well, there is an app on the phone.
I know there's an app, I know that, yeah, but surely we're going to get to a situation where phones don't work inside vehicles.
Well, look, I think the telcos have to take some responsibility here because it's no good trying to say, let's ban the mobile phone or ban the motor car. Through education processes and making people aware, particularly young ones, they have a choice. And we've got a brain ambassador who made a terrible mistake.
It's a story, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's tragic.
This is about speed because you educate young people about speed, don't you?
He openly admits when he was 20, he was driving way above the speed limit in pouring rain. He lost control, he crashed, he died on the way to Westmead in the Cairnfleet helicopter twice. 2 years and 8 months in rehab. We take him into high schools that we have to fund through our program, and it's becoming difficult because trying to find funding today, with, as you said before, bushfires, when we take him in there, young adults, as I call them, or students, they're emotionally moved by his, let's say, speech about how he made a dumb choice.
Because it could be them. But for the grace of God.
It resonates. It's not sanitised because just say to people like the sign, wet paint, don't touch, we're all human. Everyone goes up and says, oh, it's wet. And when we say that speed kills, I say, no, it doesn't. Inappropriate speed for the conditions, the ability of their driver, their cognitive capacity, and as I said, doing a 3-point turn, a hill start and a reverse park, which still happens today in the driving test. And if you think back what you did, nothing more. 40 minutes lap round the block, don't speed, don't go through a stop sign. You get your licence and you're not retested till you get to in the 80s.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And that is, you just amplify that because you do tremendous work on coaching young people how to deal with speed. Just to amplify that point.
Well, it's like a lot of things. We use the racetrack Bathurst. I've raced there many times. My son's raced there. It's a public road most of the year with a 60k speed limit. Yet we go up there and we're driving at speeds of up to 300 kilometres an hour, and I've had the privilege of taking you around a racetrack in a vehicle, and it's like a lot of things. We both survived. It comes back to driver skill, but that's a dirty word. We've got to call it competency. I mean, get real. A skilled tradesman is a skilled tradesman. An unskilled tradesman does dud work. Unskilled drivers make mistakes simply because they haven't had the education, and governments keep pulling the handbrake on people like us and other organisations trying to make a difference in save lives.
Look, I 200% agree with you. I grew up on a farm like Alan, so you know all the limitations of a vehicle per se.
Early on.
Then you've got to put them on a road and you've got to learn all the visual cues of the road test. My dad made me do a defensive driving course at a racetrack, Sandown in Melbourne. And it was the first time I'd ever deployed ABS brakes.
Yes.
When you know you've got them, but you don't know what it's like to stop with ABS brakes. I know they're standard now, but just knowing how hard I had to do a lot of force, understanding how much I was going to skip. You know, most people think you're going to be able to stop very quickly. You can't. You don't. But you don't know all of this stuff until you're in the middle of a crash. I'll use your word, a crash. And this is, I don't understand why it's not in schools.
Why wouldn't you? The kids would love to hear what. That's why we've got him on tonight. Kids love to hear what you have to say.
Well, we don't speak down to them. We engage with them at their level, and they buy that because young kids, believe it or not, do have common sense. You've just got to push the right buttons, and when you do, they warm to that and go, yeah, I've actually got a choice.
See, if I can just say to parents out there watching, last year it was 1,182 people died on the roads. Will next year be one of yours? New South Wales 352, an increase of 6 on 2018. Victoria 263, an increase of 50. Queensland 217, a decrease there of 28. WA 164, dead, an increase of 6. South Australia 113. Whose 113 will it be this year? An increase of 33. The Northern Territory 35, a decrease of 15. Tasmania 32 dead on the roads, a decrease of 1. The ACT 6, a decrease of 3. So basically you're saying no one wakes up in the morning saying this is a good day to die.
No, and what you've read there is almost like the scoreboard in Aussie rules. We're talking about the goals here, and I don't say that in a disrespectful way to people who have been affected by road carnage. It's the people left behind, like our brain injury ambassador Jared, who is in lifelong rehabilitation. That's a massive on-cost to the health system, because I hate to say it, but you talk to any insurance company, their actuaries, which are the bookies, they actually prefer people that actually pass away on the road because it's a driveway, no more to pay cost. The people like Jared, as you know, are here for a very long time, and that's a massive on-cost to the families, the rehabilitation people, and the people they associate with.
Well, look, you can all access, there's a website, Ian Luff, it's Luff, ianluff.com.au, it's all there. I think Peter's spot on. We teach all, is there anything more important than this to teach? And yet we don't teach it.
A little bit less climate change, a little bit more
climate change.
education, would that be good, hey?
Climate change, Peter.
I hit the button. Did you know, where's my camera? 225. He won the ratings again today. He hasn't told you. We've got to the end of the show. We're 5 minutes to 9. He hasn't mentioned it. So I'm going to blow his
Congratulations.
Well done to you. Hey, he's blushing. It's the colour of his jacket.
Ian Luff, luff.com.au. Thank you for talking important sense.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Keep at it.
Welcome.
Break coming up.